guys, keep watching to see my August 2021 Plan With Me video. This month my theme is hydrangeas. I actually asked for theme requests on my Instagram story earlier this week, and I got a lot of requests for either beach theme or a flower theme. But ultimately I decided to go with these hydrangea flowers instead of beaches because August is a really crazy busy month for me. And I know it'll probably be busy for a lot of you guys because school starts this month, and I wanted to have some calming bullet journal spreads. Also, beach themes kind of fit more with summer break, so maybe I'll do those next summer. Anyways, to draw the hydrangeas, I started by making a cluster of smaller flowers. Each individual flower has 4 petals and they all come out of a circular center. Then I used my fine liner to add some lines close to the center of each flower to act as some shading, just to make it a little bit more realistic. Then to draw the leaves, I made the edges of them kind of rough and scribbly to mimic real hydrangea leaves, although they do kind of look like basil leaves here too. For colors this month, I chose blue with some purple accents to perpetuate the calming theme that I'm going for, and also because blue hydrangeas are the best in my opinion, the prettiest. You'll notice that on the inside of each flower I used a darker shade of blue to make the flowers slightly more realistic again, and I also used another mild liner to add some pops of purple here and there. And to finish up the cover page, I added some craft paper and washi tape accents. I think the craft paper adds some warmth to all of the cool tones on this spread, so I really love how it turned out. I also wrote August in hand lettering. For the quote page this month, I wanted to try drawing some black and white flowers on top of a colorful background, so I started by outlining 2 different flowers. One is just a generic flower and one is an actual hydrangea. I also added a couple little sparkles and stars around them for fun, and after that I used my blue mild liners to fill in circles behind these flower drawings. Hydrangeas kind of form in circular shapes, or more like ovals, but still I thought this would best match the theme. I also wanted to add some craft paper circles to decorate the page around these other flowers. You'll see that in a minute here. But before I did that, I added the quote, and my quote this month is "Breathe, relax, you got this," because once again I'm trying to have some calming vibes in my bullet journal this month. Okay, so here's where I started cutting out the circles. I just used some scissors on my craft paper. They're not entirely perfect, but they still look pretty circular. I did 1 large circle, 1 medium circle, and 1 small circle, and then added them randomly around the page, and I used my Tombow tape roll to glue them in. And by the way, before I forget to mention this, I will link all the supplies that I used today down below. Moving on to the calendar page, I started by once again drawing the hydrangeas. Originally for this theme, after I had settled on doing some sort of flowers, I thought sunflowers could be good, but I felt much more drawn to blue and purple this month, and sunflowers definitely cannot be blue. Also, Amanda Rachel Lee did sunflowers a few years ago, and I knew I would be inclined to just recreate all of her spreads because she did such a good job. On this page, I also added a couple lavender flowers. I don't know if you call them sprigs or flowers or what, but I added some lavender just to create some visual interest, and I thought it would be really pretty if I had a couple purple flowers in there as well. For the actual calendar, I used a thicker fine liner on the outside of the entire thing and then a thinner one for the lines inside. I'm not quite sure why I decided to do that, but I'm actually quite pleased with how it turned out, so I'll probably do that again in the future. I just thought it looked really cool. And then of course I left a space for my monthly goal at the bottom of the calendar. I always love to have a monthly goal just for me to have something to work towards every month. And then I started adding all the colors to the spreads. So once again I colored in the hydrangeas with a light blue and added dark blue and purple accents. I colored in the stem and leaves with a dark green color, and then I also colored in the lavender with purple. For all of the days that aren't a part of August on this calendar, I filled them in with my purple mild liner so that I will make sure that I know they're not part of August. And then for the title, I cut out another piece of craft paper and wrote August in blue letters. I also added a white drop shadow to make the letters stand out more. And yes, I am well aware that I forgot to number the actual calendar, but don't worry, I went back with a blue gel pen and added all the numbers after filming was done. And that was all for the calendar spread. So for my August habit tracker, I started by drawing 9 mini August calendars. These help keep track of habits like exercising, staying hydrated, taking vitamins, etc. So every day that I actually complete a habit, I add a dot on this corresponding day on these mini calendars. I hope that makes sense. Habit trackers are my favorite spreads because they really help me build up all of the habits that I aspire to. For each of these mini calendars, I filled in the top with my purple highlighter, and that is eventually where I will label each of the habits at the top. And then for the title overall on the page, I wrote habits in cursive and tracker on a little piece of craft paper that I cut out and then taped onto the page. At the bottom of the page, I also added a piece of craft paper which I covered in white and blue flowers. The blue ink doesn't really show up on camera, so my apologies for that. And I'm not sure how I feel about this craft paper detail at the bottom, but I decided to just leave it because sometimes I have a tendency to make my spreads worse when I'm actually trying to add more things or make them better. Anyways, for the mood tracker this month, I started by drawing a single hydrangea down at the bottom. Same as always, I drew a bunch of flowers with 4 petals, but this time I also added a couple flowers floating around the hydrangea. And you'll see what I mean in a minute here, but for each day of the month I drew a circle of varying size. I'll color these in each day based on what my mood is. I decided to do circles instead of individual flowers because the flowers are so small on the actual hydrangeas that I've been drawing throughout, and I thought making them larger for this page would seem unproportional in relation to all the other drawings. So now these circles could be pollen or bubbles or something fun like that. I love how they look, so honestly it doesn't matter, I like them anyways. But of course, first I had to fill in the hydrangea with all the different colors, so you just saw the footage of me coloring it in, and now I can get into actually drawing the circles. And once I finished drawing all of these, of course, I numbered them off 1 through 31. Yeah, there are 31 days in August, so 1 through 31 for each day of August. And to finish off the spread, I made a color key for my moods, and these are the colors I will use to fill in the circles. And last but not least, it was time to work on the first weekly spread of August. Lately, I've been really liking separating my weekly spreads into different categories instead of by days. It just helps me organize everything a little bit better, I think. So I made boxes for my to-do list, weekly assignments, events, and packages. For this spread, I also drew some more black and white flowers with the intention of drawing colorful shapes behind them. For the flowers this time I had lavender, a singular hydrangea flower, and an entire hydrangea. And this time, instead of circles, I put squares behind the flowers to match the angular boxes that I used for all the different categories. I also cut out some craft paper squares and glued them in with a Tombow tape roll. For the boxes themselves, I added a blue highlight at the top where I labeled every different category. Originally, as you can maybe tell, I wasn't intending to use any craft paper on this spread, but I decided to go for it because I felt like my spread was missing a little bit of contrast. I have so many cool tones here, and I just wanted to add a little bit of a warm tone. So without further ado, here is the August 2021 bullet journal flip through. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope you love this theme as much as I do, and if you enjoyed this video, I make monthly bullet journaling videos, so please don't forget to like and subscribe.